Hello, Liberty Hill family. My name is Ralph Galloway.
And my name is Tara Galloway, and you know me as Tara Murray. Our family lived on Luella and Montague Avenue. My father's name is Louis Murray, and you would know him as Chico. Chico owned the Boulevard Upholstery and the El Chico's Lounge. Our family had been on Liberty Hill for a very long time. My great grandfather, Casey Nesbitt, bought 10 acres by the 8 Mile Pump from Penny LaQ in 1881. And of course, all of you know my grandmother, Rachel Ann Murray, who lived on Lester Avenue right next to Liberty Hill Elementary School. And every morning before 8 o'clock, we could stop by the store and get Krispy Kreme donuts, Jack's macaron cookies, my favorite, and all the candy we can eat, just like a good grandmother.
So, this afternoon, we wanted to spend just a few minutes with you and talk about Tara's family history, give you a little bit of the genealogy and a little bit more history about her family. One of the things that makes her family unique is that they have been there for so very long and so many generations that to find documentation and history in some of the local resources made it easier to research her family tree. So what I'd like to do now is show you an image of her family tree. And for this image, we used Ancestry.com, but you could also use Family Tree, or there are a number of different programs out there that you could use or utilize to help capture this information. But what I wanted to share with you this afternoon, what we wanted to talk with you about, were some of the resources and things that are available to you to capture your family story. Because today we're celebrating the 150-year anniversary of Liberty Hill, the founding of Liberty Hill. But within that founding of Liberty Hill, there are a plethora of stories, the families that have been there for years and years. So hopefully you'll be able to gain some insights from what we're about to share and the story that we're about to tell. So what I'd like to do now is show you an image of Tara's family tree. So when you look at this image, right now what you can see is her dad, Louis Murray, her grandmother, Rachel Ann, and their father, Louis Joseph. But prior to that, what you'll see when the image stops moving, you see the name Pickens, Paul Blocker, Matilda, and Matilda Brown. Yeah, there you go. Rachel Ann Murray, Tara's grandmother. Her parents are Paul Blocker and Matilda Brown. Matilda Brown is the daughter of Abram Brown and Susan Nesbitt. The interesting thing about this is that Susan and Abram had Matilda. Matilda actually had twins. She gave birth to twins, and she named them after her aunt and uncle, Casey and Rachel. Casey and Rachel, because Matilda was so young, adopted those two twins and raised them right there on Liberty Hill. So her grandmother has been there since the 1880s when she was born. So her history there is well established. So in order to discover some of this information, I used your local library, downtown Charleston, and I was able to locate a very interesting book that was actually about an entirely different topic. But in that book, it had the story of Casey Nesbitt and Rachel Nesbitt when they moved to Liberty Hill, and when they adopted these twin babies. So we were able to find that information again in your local library. So if you're tracing your family history, one of the things that you first want to do is capture all the family stories, those stories that your family tells to one another, and you start with that. So talk to as many people in your family as you can. Initially, they may not want to talk with you, but you just ask them to tell you the story of their family. And then you write down and capture as much of that as you can, and you talk from one family member to another, and you start there. And as you gather those stories, then you start to look for places where you can find additional information. And some of those places I mentioned already, your local library. There is also the Avery Institute, which is in downtown Charleston, and the death certificates that you could get from the vital statistics uh, area in Charleston. We went there and were able to get several death certificates. And once you get a death certificate, then you're able to find information about who the parents were of some of the deceased and other relatives. So simply by starting with the very basics of who you are, who's your mom and dad, who are their parents, your grandparents, aunts and uncles, and then as you gather that information, and you can start to do the research that I just mentioned to you. You can look for the death certificates. If they're younger people, birth certificates, which will have that information on it on also. You can also look for property records. Many of the people there on Liberty Hill, Tara's grandmother Rachel, had owned numerous pieces of property, and you can actually get those recorded deeds. And in those deeds, you will find sometimes a great deal of information. We found a deed from Abram Brown, who was Matilda's father, where he left land to his surviving three children in 1900, and he named those three children Matilda, Daniel, and Rachel. So by having that one document, we found the connection between Abram Brown, Matilda Brown, and her brothers and sisters, and that gave us additional information about the family. Now, not to bore you with this and to drag it on, but just as a way of showing you how you can find detailed information just through those records that I've mentioned. So once again, you start with your family, aunts, uncles, grandparents, friends of the family. The interesting thing about Liberty Hill, because families have been there for so long, you'd be amazed at the stories that you could get from just other families that have been there for a long time as well. And I think you'll find it interesting as you start to talk with people and they tell you their family story, that you also could gather information. As an example, in talking with Valerie, who works on the Liberty Hill Committee, there's actually a connection between the Nesbitts and her family. Amazing. So be careful on Liberty Hill too, by the way. You never know who might be your cousin. But once again, we'd like to thank you for the opportunity to spend some time with you. We are so sorry we couldn't be there to celebrate with you. Tara has to get back to work. I've dragged her away to do this, kicking and screaming. But we hope you have a wonderful celebration with food, friends, family, and take some time to gather some stories while you're there. Enjoy each other's companies. We're sending you much love. We're in California, so we're 3 hours behind you. So whenever you happen to look at this, think about us. But again, congratulations on 150 years of your community being established. Enjoy the celebration. Know that it's truly special, and much love. God bless.
And shout out to the Liberty Hill Reunion Committee. This is a big job. Thank you guys very much for keeping this alive. Thank you for all the history, all the work that you guys have done with the train station. We look forward to coming back soon after all the COVID stuff is over so we can come and see the train station. So I heard it was really nice. So thank you guys. Continue work, and We support you guys in everything you do. Great job. And for the people who aren't here anymore, we just want to give a shout out to them as well and just remember them. Thank you.
Thank you.